Hello everybody, this is Brian with ZimCo Survival, and I'm back. Now my brother was gracious enough to lend me a couple of the items that he purchased to do a review on. Now I hope to get a Mora Garberg soon myself, but I don't have one right now. So this one is his. Now because of that, I'm not going to baton with this knife, although this is the only Mora that I would baton with, and I'll explain why. First let's go ahead and go over the sheath. Now he got the Mora compatible sheath. I don't have the rest of it for you guys, but suffice it to say that it will attach to basically anything Mora, and you can even screw it to a wall. So as far as sheaths go, it's actually cheaper than their leather variant. So I would go ahead and pick up the Mora version. It's about $10 cheaper than the leather. But let me go over the sheath really quick. This sheath was designed much better than the Mora Bushcraft Black or the Bushcraft Orange. One of the things that Mora learned from their other bushcrafters, which I explained in my updated Bushcraft Black video, where the bottom only had that one hole and it didn't allow for all of the water to drain. Well, now they added two, and as you can see, they're large holes. All the water is going to come out of this sheath, so I really like this sheath design. Plus up here you have a nice leather, really nice leather belt strap, so that it can be held as a dangler instead of one of those plastic ones. I really love the updated sheath on this knife. Now the retention is not quite as good as I would like. If you shake it enough, the knife comes out, but it does take some pretty hard shakes, so it's not going to just pop out during everyday use. But it is something like if you were to fall or something like that, and you really jerked on this knife a bit, the knife could come out, which could be a safety concern. But overall, that's pretty much the sheath. It's the same standard Mora style sheath, where it's plastic with a forced retention on it, where the knife actually pushes into the sheath, and that's what holds the knife in place. But as far as quality of the sheath goes, this is miles ahead of what the other Moras offer. Now let me go ahead. I'm going to show you the knife. Now the reason, because like I said before, I don't normally baton with the Mora knife, but this one was made for batoning, and let me explain why. The handle is not the same kind of handle that you run into with the Mora Bushcrafting series. It's actually really hard plastic, a glass-filled polymer basically. So even though it is a completely enclosed handle, you can still baton on this without damaging your grip. Now there's a drawback to that, and that is the fact that the grip itself is fairly slippery. It's not as slippery as the BK7, but it does have some slip to it, so I would most certainly use a lanyard with this. You don't want this thing slipping out of your hands, and it is a possibility. Now as far as comfort goes with the grip, it's not the most comfortable Mora grip I've ever used. Like I say, the Bushcrafts are still my favorite as far as grips go, but it is comfortable. It's not going to wear your hand out if you're only using it for an hour or two. I would say that this probably will wear your hand out if you're working for more than a couple of hours though, just because the grip isn't as ergonomically designed as I would have liked. Because this is a member of the Bushcraft series. Now I want to specify, you had the Bushcraft Black and the Bushcraft Orange. But this is still a member of that series because it is designed for bushcrafting, although bushcrafting is not in the name. The name of this knife is the Mora Garberg. Now of course I do carry this on our website, so if you would like to go ahead and pick one of these up, go ahead and hit the link below. But let's go ahead and get back to the review. Now it is a full Tang knife. It is the only full Tang knife that Mora makes. The blade metal is 14C28N stainless steel. Now as far as stainless steels go, it is the best quality stainless steel that I've ever seen. It is probably has the best edge retention and is the easiest to sharpen of all of the stainless steels. It is a Sandvik stainless steel, so as far as quality goes, you know that it's going to be probably the best quality that you're going to find in a knife. Because it is full Tang, this does have an exposed pommel for hammering, much like the Bushcraft, not the Bushcraft, the BK7, which has the same style of exposed pommel on the back, although theirs is a little bit more squared off. It is a Scandi grind, although it does have a micro bevel on it. I can't show it to you because the camera won't pick it up, but if you hold the knife at the right angle, you can actually see that little micro bevel that runs all the way across the edge. That is a standard in all of their bushcrafting knives, including the Bushcraft Black and the Bushcraft Orange. That means that it's not going to be as razor sharp as, say, a Mora Companion, which has a true Scandi grind. Although it does give the knife the ability to withstand impact force more, which basically allows it to be better at batoning because you're not going to damage the blade during that process. Because it is a member of their bushcrafting series, it is a 3.2 millimeter blade as far as spine thickness goes. Now this one is slightly longer than the Bushcraft Black at 4.3 inches. As far as the overall length of the blade goes. The overall length of the grip and blade and pommel sits at about, if I'm not mistaken, it's like 9.75 inches. It's right there on that line. The weight of this knife, it's not particularly light. This knife is 9.6 ounces, so a little over half a pound. But the overall design of it is really, really good. I think as far as a general purpose, long-lasting bushcrafting knife, it's really quite exceptional at that. But this thing right here, this spine, is unbelievable for striking ferro rods. Sarah, could you grab my ferro rod really quick? I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that. I wasn't planning to, but I think I should. But while she's doing that, let me go ahead and show you guys this thing feathering a toothpick. I think that's going to be one of my standards when doing a Mora knife, because they are the only knife that I've been able to do that with. So let me go ahead and do that while I wait for that ferro rod. But it is exceptionally good at feather sticking, because like I've said on some of my other Mora videos, if you can feather stick a toothpick, you can feather stick pretty much anything. And it goes to show how good these knives are at fine tasks. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and leave it right there because the rod is here. But there you go. So let me go ahead and show you guys this thing on a ferro rod and show you just what it can do. Now, I'm going to be doing a review on this ferro rod. This is the Bayite rod. I purchased it on Amazon for around $15. I also carry these on my store. These are probably one of the best ferro rods that I've found. It is a hard rod, so it's not a medium or soft. But even as a hard rod, these things put out a lot of sparks, and the sparks do last a fairly long time. So I think durability for the money as far as these rods go, very, very good. And like I said, I'm going to be doing a review on one of these rods in a little bit. But basically, let me show you how this thing works. Let me scrape it just a little bit. Don't know how well you guys can see it there, so very, very good at scraping a ferro rod. Honestly, probably better than most of the other bushcrafts, and I don't know why, but I get better sparks with this than my other bushcraft knives, than my other the Bushcraft Black or the Bushcraft Orange. I'm not sure why, because the spine is exactly the same, but I just seem to get better, longer lasting sparks from this particular knife, no matter which ferro rod I happen to be using. So don't know why, maybe it's just in my head, but there you go. My overall review of this knife would be an 8 out of 10, and the reason that I'm giving it that rating is because I wish this handle was not as slippery. I wish they had taken in these inserts here and put in some of that nice rubber that they have on the Bushcraft series, like the Bushcraft Black, so you had a bit of grip, something that your hand could stick to. But this handle is made out of basically the same material with a little bit of checkering across here. So it is grippy. It's not going to come out of your hand for no reason. But if you are doing some hard work with it and your hand slips, it could pull the knife out. And those of you that know, that have used bushcrafting knives in the past for carving and things like that, know that sometimes you just hit that knot, and when you're trying to force it through, your hand just comes right off the end. So that is a risk with this knife. That's why I go ahead and make sure you put a lanyard on here so that you don't run into that. But a lanyard should fix that problem. Overall, I do love this knife, and I do hope to get one myself, because I would like to have a really good high quality stainless knife in my my kit, because if I'm near water or something, I'd rather pull one of these out than a high carbon knife. But as far as ease of sharpening, it is a stainless steel knife, so it's not going to be as easy as a high carbon. Excuse me. But this knife sharpens up fairly easily. It's not as hard as most of the stainless steels, but it's not as easy as a carbon. It kind of falls right in between, which is okay. I think as far as stainless goes, you gain all the benefits of stainless, but not as much of the drawback as you normally would. So, overall opinion of this knife, it is expensive. It sits between $70 and $85, but it is a full Tang Mora, which I think is an incredible knife. I definitely would pick one of these up. I plan to myself. But there you go. That's my review. As always, if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. And remember, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please go ahead and leave them in the comments below. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night. Bye-bye.